One of the things that you guys have done, and you six Marvel movies,
technically
is that right?
Yeah.
The first being the first Captain America,
right?
The first Avenger, is the humanity in the movies and the small people moments. For instance, I think with Captain America, the unrequited love, between Haley Atwell's character and Chris Evans' characters, the second greatest Marvel romance after Tony Stark and Tony Stark.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But talk a little bit about that, trying to weave that in, because that's not something historically we've seen in a lot of.
And it turns out that particular relationship has become sort of the North Star for all of it, because we get all the way, spoiler alert, to the very end, and Steve finally gets that dance with Peggy. Right. Chris and I often say that we don't write for superheroes, right? If you look at one of our scripts, it doesn't say Captain America, it doesn't say Iron Man, it says Steve, it says Tony, it says Natasha. So we're only interested in these stories because of the people inside them. The person who was frozen in ice and came back and doesn't understand where he is. That's the interesting person, not the guy that can throw a car.
I think you can think of genre and of superhero movies in general as a kind of amplifier for a small human story, which is kind of how we like to go into it, which is we want to tell these little stories about people. You can tell a tiny story about a dad and a daughter, and it has a certain amount of mileage. You tell a story about a dad and a daughter, and the dad then puts on an iron suit. The range of not only eyes and ears that you can reach as a storyteller goes up exponentially, but also the stresses you can put that relationship under go up, and you can explore things that you otherwise would have never have a chance to get to in a 2-hour movie.
Absolutely. And with Endgame, one of the challenges you had is just the sheer number of people in this movie and the sheer number of storylines that need to be given proper treatment. Talk a little bit about that challenge. Do you have any idea how many superheroes are in that movie?
Yes. There are 71 speaking parts in Endgame.
Wow.
So when we decided to take the job, it gave us some pause, because we knew it would be the biggest puzzle that we would ever face. And there was a lot of writing on it and yada, yada, yada. But
what's weird about those 71 is the vast majority of them are name actors who, could otherwise lead a film.
Sure.
So you can't go, we only have to care about these three. It is a sort of, there's a democratic level of pressure on you to give everybody not equal time, but equal quality in some ways. Because occasionally people would go like, are there any walk-on parts? It's like, no, like an Oscar winner has the walk-on.
That's right. That's right.
True. One of the things about Marvel characters, the run that Marvel Studios has is unprecedented, and there's never been anything like it with this interlocking lattice work of all these movies fitting together. Their heroes are not, alien. The last survivors of alien plants, usually. They're not princesses or kings, usually. Thor is, I suppose, a prince, but we'll let that go. But often it's about affliction, like their powers or something that haunts them or something they didn't want.
No, we often think that the character's flaw is their strength. And so like Steve Rogers, for example, if you know the Captain America movies, he's the guy that can do this all day. And he is absolutely fixed in his opinion. He's Gary Cooper in many ways, but that gets him into trouble ultimately, right? Because he won't bend to others. He will sacrifice the Avengers because he needs to save his friend Bucky Barnes. We really are interested in that duality.
Yeah. I think it's the innovation that Stan Lee and his cohorts brought in the early 60s was it's the angst caused by superheroism that is actually what draws you into the story. It's not whether they can climb from walls or shoot things out of their eyes. It's that these are people that you recognize. Peter Parker's a teenage kid, and this has put an unbelievable amount of stress on him. Yeah. And it's fun to read and it's action-packed, but it's also, you come back to it because you as a teenage reader are going, boy, I get that.